Radio, and it's Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. UK time. This is the spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Uprushin. And I'm Saad in southeast London, where right now it is overcast and it's been sunny earlier and warm, but now I think it's even been raining a bit. Uh, and with me, as usual, is Gregory. Gregory, how are you doing, and how is the weather where you are?
One is fine. The weather is just like what you have in London, but still a bit brighter.
A bit brighter. Okay, okay. And how has been your week?
Very busy as usual.
Okay, very good. In my case, I had quite a eventful week. In fact, my laptop packed up, and let's say I had to do emergency, and thank goodness I've managed to get in a new laptop, and I'm using it right now uh, for the show. So I'm happy about that. And yes, the data was able to be saved as well, I'm glad to say. So that is good. So I hope your week has been good as well, listeners. Welcome to this show. The topic for this evening is, for our discussion is, be thy brother's keeper. Be thy brother's keeper. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 07939641958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 00447939641958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with, what is the Grail Message? The Grail Message in the Light of Truth by Uprushin is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the readers again brought closer to life and led back to God. Excuse me. The Grail Message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail Message, Uprushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail Message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole without leaving any gaps. Again and again in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly. All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic for tonight is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. Be Thy Brother's Keeper. That's from the Bible, actually, in case you didn't know that. And you're welcome to join us with any questions or comments. And you can contact us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Gregory, as usual, I like to check in the dictionary the meaning of the words in the topic. And yes, so there are just 4 words there. Be thy brother's keeper. So the first word is be. And there it says, be is meaning, one meaning it says exist, and the second meaning occur. So, Gregory, I don't know if that helps for our discussion, that meaning given there.
It can be clearly seen that phrase should be taken as one, not broken into parts, because it's a figure of speech. However,
Right.
the expressions you just read out, to some extent, are precise.
Yes. Okay. In spite or despite of what you just said, I will still go through the dictionary meaning, and then we can sort of prove it again. So that this the topic is, I forgot the word you used there, which is expression rather than, each word, it just doesn't make sense by itself with the expression. But I will just say it anyway. In fact, the second word is called thy, which is the Old English for your. So it says be your brother's keeper, really. That's what it's supposed to say. And then the other word is brother. And there it says, again in the dictionary, which again we are saying is not really helpful, but I'll say it anyway. Brother, the meaning is a male who has the same parents as another, or one parent in common with another, which meaning that's a half brother. So again, these are taking it very literally. But actually in that dictionary, it also gave some other meanings for brother, which I think is more, let's say, relevant. And it says one related to another by common ties or interests. Another one is a fellow member, which is sometimes used in a religious sort of way of a community. And the final word is keeper. So there I had 4 synonyms, in fact, I found in the dictionary there. So one word meaning of keeper is And Gregory, I will ask you to comment on this one. The first meaning for keeper, it says protector, a person or thing that keeps safe someone or something from harm or injury. So again, Gregory, how is it very relevant for us in our discussion?
Yes, it is, because it stresses the protector or protection from harm.
Okay, so I will continue. There were four meanings given in this dictionary, or synonyms, I should say. And the second meaning, synonym, it said gamekeeper. And there's they say a person employed to breed and protect game, typically for a large estate. I think that I'll let you say, Gregory, how relevant that one is.
Again, you'll find that the intuitive idea is the protection of that which has been entrusted. So that's what it's referring to.
Okay. Oh dear, something went wrong with my typing with the next one, warden. I think it means similar thing. I'm just gonna use the word warden, somebody who take care, I think, of, let's say, some people, and then which is again like protecting, but it's a bit more than that. And then custodian, which it sounds exactly like protecting, if I'm honest. So we will leave it. We'll leave that one. Gregory, what I'll do next, I want to read from the Bible. If I can just find it, actually. This quote, where this comes from. I just need to look for it. I'm sorry. Yes, there we go. Okay, so this is Genesis chapter 4, verses 1 to 13. And I'll just read it. And Adam knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from the Lord. And she bare again his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And thou art and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. I'm going to stop there. I know that's the old English, but hopefully, listeners, you were able to follow it. So that's where you could say this title or topic we have come up with, which is um, "Am I my brother's keeper?" That's what um Cain said to the Lord after he had killed his brother. He tried to sort of pretend he doesn't know what has happened. Um, so, Gregory, that I know it's a very, how can I say, I will say, I'm going to use the word unusual type of story, but there's a point being made that you're supposed to care for your, well, in this case, we're talking directly a brother, but I think what we really mean is fellow human beings. That's the general thing. So let's talk about what does this mean, Gregory? Then that I be there. Well, the topic we have chosen is be thy brother's keeper. What does it that really mean?
Like was mentioned earlier, this is only a figure of speech. That expression, brother, only refers to those that have the same goal. That means you have a case wherever you have people that have the same goal, they call most of the time themselves brothers or sisters. It has nothing to do with physical relationship. So these are only figures of speech. And since the key here is the same goal, it means, therefore, like has been stressed before, one for all and all for one, which is no empty saying. That scenario in which you have to protect. Being a keeper, you have to protect the other from harm. To protect from harm only means to ensure that there is vigilance and alertness of those that have similar goals. Else, you will not attain to the goal. So that protection that enables vigilance and alertness, such that there will be the fulfillment of the goal or the fulfillment of duty. That's protection that also grants encouragement and selflessness, because you all have the same goal. And you can see this even in the games that men have put forward for themselves, so-called game of football, where the team have the same goal. That same goal ensures that when they train themselves for vigilance, for alertness, for quickness to respond, and for courage, for diligence, and for modesty. So it says it all. To be thy brother's keeper is to first look into yourself to ensure that that which you yourself want your brother to be, you must first embody such in such a way that your brother or those people that have the same goal, which you call brothers or sisters, whatever one cares to call them, they can see in the examples which you have set how to attain to the fulfillment of a goal.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for that answer and picture you're painting. In my head, you say you're referring to the same goal, people having the same goal, and I'm thinking, is it? I've got a number of questions actually on that. So, are we saying? Okay, I'll say this one first. If the people do not have the same goal, it means they should not be protected or helped, or is it like that? Because let's say you come across a fellow human being as a stranger, you don't know what their goal is at all, even. Um, I mean, except that, well, I don't call being a fellow human being a goal itself, but just that you may feel, oh, this person is in need. And so I'm wondering, Gregory, what do you do about ones who do not have the same goal, or you're not sure they have the same goal? Are they not meant to be helped?
The way many view these things are very superficial. Every human personality on earth is here on earth to mature spiritually. Otherwise, it would not be here on earth to experience and subsequently to mature. That spiritual maturity is the goal which is spoken of. It is the goal which has to be attained. Therefore, all human spirits have the same goal, which is of spiritual experiencing and spiritual maturity. And therefore, the need is there to support one another, to protect one another, in the sense of ensuring that they who are here to mature spiritually awaken not only in deeds, in the gross material that many are able to perceive with their senses, but also to awaken in their thoughts, and above all, to awaken in their intuition, which is basically to awaken spiritually. That means to come to recognition. Given all that is available for the human personality, given the challenges which the human personality encounters, be it pleasurable challenges or not so pleasurable challenges, these rap at the human soul to enable it to awaken. And that is the key, to awaken to recognition.
Thank you, Gregory. Sorry for the delay. I was just a little bit diverted. I'm sorry for that. Gregory, I hear you. You know, every show we say all for one and one for all. And in today's show, the topic is very sort of directly relevant to that. And when you were answering this question, I just thought of something. I don't know exactly what is the doctor's oath that they have to fulfill, but it's like even if you agree or disagree with let's say a doctor is treating someone, you might not know the person anyway. You probably don't know the person, but you still treat that person as a doctor, in spite whether you agree or disagree with anything with that other person, so that is exactly saying all for one and one for all. You basically care whoever is the person that comes in front of you, because otherwise you could have a prejudice about something, and then that would say, oh no, I can't do this because you disagree with something. And then, but no, the help or the treatment is for a human being is what your promise is, not about what you think about the person. So this is, I think, a very good way to see these things. And so what I'm thinking, Gregory, this is like similar to a mother and a child, with the mother having unconditional love, although I'm not saying love, doctors are giving love directly like that, but it's unconditional. That's the point I'm making. A mother has for her child. And so is that how we are applying this as well? That be thy brother's keeper is unconditional love, is like unconditional love.
No.
Right.
It cannot
Okay.
be unconditional.
Okay.
For a very simple reason. If you wish to be your brother's keeper, and he himself or herself says no, how do you then proceed? If he himself or herself says, I have a different goal, I don't wish to awaken spiritually or in myself, what do you then do? Waste time pursuing that person when there are other human personalities who would need such concern?
Right. Thank you for that. I could say clarification and making sense of this point, because we can do we can do things just almost like I was going to use the word robot, just because you have to do this and you have but no, there is something conditional in it. So we will explore that in a moment a bit more. I just want to let the listeners know that you're listening to Bless Radio, and this is a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abrushin. And if you're interested to know more about the Grail Message or want to get a copy of the Grail Message for yourself, then you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, message.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is be thy brother's keeper. Be thy brother's keeper. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on, as I said, Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. And you can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space Grail Message, space the topic of the show, which tonight is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. And this recording you can listen to the 24, well, not 24 hours, next day, basically. It will be put on YouTube. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM / Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1. Now, Gregory, we made some very important point in the last question about, let's say, taking care, being a keeper for our brother, but where it's conditional in the sense that if that brother, in quotes we call brother because it's a fellow human, we can just say, doesn't want that help that we are offering, then we're not supposed to go for and just like disobey that or just go ahead and do it, help whatever we think we are helping, because then the person will not really get any benefit from there, and plus we'll be wasting our effort. So just thinking, so there's a thing called justice there, Gregory. You have love, but it can't be at the exclusion of justice. You give, and then you get, there's a justice, it must be done justly, let's say. And I'm thinking, Gregory, so is that is there like any requirement, Gregory, when somebody receives help that they need to repay? I'm thinking like the law of balance, in a way that there must be a balance. You people shouldn't be getting, you could say, something for free. So when somebody receives help, I mean, when I think about this more, maybe you cannot repay it anyway. That can also be the case. But let's not go there just now. If somebody is given help, Gregory, the person who's received that help, then does he or she have the responsibility to repay that person who helped?
It is very wrong to consider that help has been given to a particular personality, and that personality must return that help to the giver of that particular help. It has never worked that way, and it will never work that way. For a very simple reason, that the personality receives. In receiving, it makes use of what it has received. And through some form of action, is able to help others. It doesn't have to be the person who, in quotes, gave that help that one should return it to. Suppose the person who gave the help has given it and has left and is no more in that neighborhood. Are you going to be searching for that person throughout your life? Suppose the person has passed on So it is very restricted the way these things are viewed. And that was why, when in biblical terms it was said, as long as you have done it to another, you've done it unto me. Many should take these words very seriously. Whoever receives must make use of what it has received to appreciate it, and in all naturalness should make it available not only to themselves but to others. To others who, in one form or the other, will be in need. A very typical example is the case of a music composer. Here, the music composer listens within himself or herself. And in listening, he or she does not even know how these currents, these streams of current, flow to him or her. Because they have prepared themselves. And in that preparation, they are open to the streams. And they are able to capture the sounds. And they then compose a beautiful tune or a piece of music. Do they have to now go back and play this music to the streams which they themselves cannot see, but are sure that they received from somewhere? How many musicians have you seen who go to the stadium to play music for themselves with all the massive speakers? They have received. They have composed. And they have shared that which they have received. Whether people pay for it or not, it's immaterial. They have received and they have shared. How many times have you listened to programs in the radio? Some wonderful music. Did you pay for it? So these are the questions one must ask oneself and not become so narrow. But the condition is there. Motion is a law in creation. And that being the case, it means there's always motion. There is always motion in receiving of the streams of power that enable the human personality to recognize. And in recognition, they themselves have done something to it, have added their own personality, as in the case of music composing, and have shared it with others. The law is fulfilled. The law is not fulfilled when you have listened to a piece of music, to some streams, you compose it and hold it to yourself. And you say only yourself will listen to it, and only your band. Have you been to the stadium to listen to a band and everybody is driven away and they play with loudspeakers only for themselves? These things should be considered in a more general way.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this answer there. I just want to put another question on that same subject. So I know it's not about giving and receiving like in a equal way. Now, what I want to ask now is if the person receiving this help uh, simply gives thanks, and I'm sorry, is the thanks sufficient? Um, I know I'm doing it in I use the word payment, but I want to think of it in a way of balance. But maybe, and I'm not sure if there's a balance here, or it's just about motion of movement, the law of movement. But in any case, I just want to ask this. So somebody gives, a person A gives help to a person B, and then person B cannot reciprocate the same way back, but then gives thanks. Person B gives thanks to person A and maybe to the Almighty too, for the help they receive. Would this thanks, I know I'm measuring, but is that a sufficient, um, I'm sorry to use the word repayment, but is that sufficient, let me say that way, um, to, as a return, maybe I can say that way, for the help given?
Man's measure is grossly distorted, and therefore they lack the proper understanding of thanks. By thanks, one is referring to gratitude. The most beautiful gratitude is pure joy. Pure joy in the fulfillment of tasks in which the spirit of man participates in joyfully, in happiness. That alone is thanks. For the most beautiful gratitude can be expressed in joy. And in the motion, which is a law in creation, joy will beget joy, not sadness. Most of the time, it seems mandatory that unless you turn to the person that has been helpful to say thank you haven't fulfilled. Those who are not in the flesh, who also are instrumental in nudging the human personality, how do you say thanks to them? In your thoughts? Many can already perceive the hypocrisy that it is not meant. Again, the most beautiful gratitude is pure joy. That joy which resonates in deeds, that joy which resonates in your thoughts, and above all, that joy which resonates in one's intuition, in one's spirit. It is that joy that enables the human personality to show real gratitude, gratitude which is alive, not dead.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for, how can I say, reconfirming and, and reclarifying this concept. Because as you were mentioning, we have a tendency as human beings to measure, and this is beyond measuring. The joy, you can't measure joy. So really, so we have to see these things in a different light. And let's say we have a habit of looking at. I mean, where I was coming from, Gregory, was about this balance, and but maybe in this one, there's no need. The balance doesn't come into it. It's more about you could, as you said, the motion. They just you receive something and you forward it or pass it on in whatever way you can, So so can I ask you then, Gregory, about balance there? Um, um, we've talked about before in the past, breathing in, breathing out. I think you could say that is like a balance there. Is there any sort of way of looking at this help being your brother's keeper in any way about balance, or maybe that's not relevant?
When one considers, like in the case of music, where a personality has received of the streams in nature, in creation, and has composed a piece of music and shared it with others, which brought so much joy within the others with whom he has shared it with. In that case, it means that stream has been multiplied manyfold. And in that particular scenario, because it has been radiated out in different forms, in balance, more stream of blessings flow to that personality. That is one way of seeing it. Another way of seeing it, another perspective, is that the human personality that has been able to give others who have perceived of this wonderful piece of music in their pure joy, give thanks unconditionally and in accordance with reciprocal activity, generates the possibility where there are returns to the source that made it possible for that person to receive. And all blessings come from above. So you ask yourself, where does the human personality, how does he or she understand balance? They expect that there must be a monetary system in which there should be one is able to pay back. That may be possible here on earth. In other places, there are no monetary systems. Outside of the earth, there is no monetary system. And yet, there is giving and receiving. So, the time has come for many to improve on the concept of balance. It is not tied to the person who, like a channel, was able to pass these to another. There are many channels through which one can, through one's activity, provide a balance. A balance in the sense that having made use of that which has been granted, he or she doesn't hold it back. For in order to receive new streams, is able to push that out, to radiate that which he or she has received, so that new streams will come in. That is a form of balance which is tied to motion. The other aspect is the possibility of those who have received subsequently from that person who has done the composition, in gratitude, are able to help others or are able to turn to the source, the immediate source that made it possible, and show their gratitude not only with thanks, but also with respect, many countless ways. That is another aspect. Or in gratitude, many will open their arms and be grateful to the Lord Almighty who made the opportunities possible. That is another aspect. So there are manifold aspects through which the human personality can express itself.
Thanks, Gregory, again for your answer there. I want to now go back into the Bible and look at another reference. This time, this is in Galatians chapter 6, and it's titled Doing Good to All. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently. But watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. If anyone thinks that they are something when they are not, they deceive themselves. Each one should test their own actions. They can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. For each one should carry their own load. Nevertheless, the one who receives instruction in the word should share all good things with their instructor. Do not be deceived. God cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially to those who belong to the family of believers. Gregory, so this is, I've read something there. It is from Galatians chapter 6 about just doing good to all. And it starts with actually, if someone is caught in sin, you should restore that person gently, they say. So I'm just thinking, Gregory, we already said many times, all for one and one for all. So we talked about and helping others. So I'm just thinking, basically, anything would you like to say in comment to that, these words, Gregory, at all?
It would be better to have a specific question because it was a whole passage. And
Yes.
there are different things. So responding to such, all right, will be like a potpourri, running here and running there. If there are specific questions, one may examine them.
Right. So I'm going to think of a question on that. Okay. Watch yourself. You're not tempted. So Gregory, yeah, when you want, let's say, you see some person who's done wrong, let's say here, that's what they're talking about here, and somehow you think you can help. How can you know what sort of help you're supposed to give, Gregory? Yeah. I mean, yeah, how would you determine that? Maybe you shouldn't be helping if you're not capable of that. So, because it says don't deceive yourself, because you cannot give what you don't have, isn't it? So,
This is where modesty comes in. For the personality must strive to understand how he or she is and not try to take on more than he or she is capable of. When that which is good is referred to, it does not mean it's an arbitrary act. Which act or activity is pleasurable to the personality? Keeping people in steadfastness, making people vigilant and alert. For many, it's not pleasurable because it demands mobility not only of the physical body, but also mobility of one's thoughts, and above all, mobility of one's intuition. In the process of attaining that, for some, it might appear harsh, but as seen through the framework of the laws of nature or the laws of creation, that activity that helps in ensuring vigilance and alertness, in ensuring modesty, such activities are of benefit not only to the human body, but also to the human thoughts, because it is motion, and also to the human spirit. So, on the one hand, the tendency is always there to see that which is more of a challenge to pressurize the personality into more dynamic motion, to open up and come to better recognition. Such activities are seen as pushy, as too much for others who wish to remain indolent. So that which is good is only good in accordance with the laws of creation, which laws of creation always are based in motion, in which there is continuous improvement, continuous maturity of spirit, for it continually experiences. And in that experiencing, it matures so as to be able, in a step-by-step manner, sever itself of the base impressions, which base impressions abound in great numbers whilst one is here on earth. So, in that particular case, where there is the admonition to be on the alert, to be vigilant, to move, to face the challenges squarely, and come to recognition, such may seem from another point of view as harsh, but as seen in accordance with the laws of motion, those things are blessings. So only that which help to assure that the human personality matures in accordance with the will of the Almighty, only that is good. Else it is not good.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for that answer and picture again. We're going to continue our discussion in a moment. I just want to let the listeners know that you're listening to Blessed Radio, and this is the Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Abdrushin. And if you're interested to know more about the Grail Message or want to get a copy of the Grail Message for yourself, then you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. Be Thy Brother's Keeper. You are welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we are broadcasting on Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1.com. Also, you can listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1. That's another number 1 again. Space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1. Again, that's the number 1, space, Grail Message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows as well, also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno, that's Zeno.fm/Bless Radio 1. That's the number one again. Now, Gregory, you can say in life, well, some people think life isn't fair, and others say it's challenge, and you have to go through things in life. And we let's say, and then we see people, Gregory, who are, you could say, I know it's talking economically again, but somehow well off in economically, and others basically rich and poor I'm talking about. And then it seems that the rich have advantages because of that, money or resources, and while the poor are not so disadvantaged, and yet um, the ability, whether you're rich or poor, could be like equal in either situation. It's just the one has the resources and the other doesn't. And then one may think, oh, that's not fair. That somebody seems to be well found as if something's undeserved, that they have received something by you know or as some people like to put it, acts by accident of birth, that they happen to be in this sort of well-off situation, and others not in a well-off situation. And maybe before, let me give an example right now, Gregory, because it's in the news a lot right now. There's a lot of migration of people, specifically, just if I use that as a typical one, from the poorer countries to the richer countries. They can be refugees, or they could be economic migrants. And obviously, there's a massive number of these people coming, you could say, towards, you see that in the news in Europe and to America and so on, and even Australia, and there may be other places as well. And then the people who are, let's say, the countries there, these poorer people are coming from a country, coming into the richer country, let's say. The richer country are making comment, oh, this is, we cannot afford this sort of numbers of people, and we want to, control this sort of movement, and trying to find ways to reduce that, such a massive number, let's say, because they'll just drain their resources and so on. So again, the word fair comes in. Oh, is this fair? Are we doing? Is this fair that we're having to deal with this type of situation? And they're trying to find their own. The people who are trying to stop them, the Western countries, trying to find a way to cut down the numbers. So they may not. Yeah, basically they do say that. So my question on that, Gregory, is there and just to add to another point, Gregory, because they're labeled in quotes illegal. That's another where it makes it a little bit emotional as well into this. They're not applying for visa. They're coming that way. So now, Gregory, we say all for one and one for all. So would you say that is a responsibility for the, no matter how many numbers are coming, for the well-off countries to take care of these human beings who are, let's say, running from their home country? Is that right? That those people should be helped or stopped, or yeah, It's such a general question, I know, but we know that is again. I know I'm basing it on economic factor here, but but there could be something deeper behind it, Gregory. As I say, why is somebody born in this situation, another one born in a totally different situation? So the question I'm asking here: uh, should there's such people who are running, should they be helped or should they be stopped?
Well, these are the questions which keep floating everywhere. As with everything, the fact must be examined first. And one of the facts which may be considered is for those who have left their place of birth and intend to migrate to other countries, and they wish to go about it not asking for visas. The question that must be asked to them is the cost they themselves have paid to the so-called smugglers. Once, if they are able, honestly, to answer those questions, you yourself, who wish to be the judge, will soon realize that there are these exorbitant prices which they had to pay, which prices they would have used to build up themselves wherever they are. But they have ignored that and will prefer to go borrow money, put themselves in debt in order to live and place themselves under the control of those heartless people whose sole endeavor is to make money off them. That is a fact which must be looked into very carefully. The other fact which may be examined is you are moving from one country to another. Is it not fair to find out more about that country and see if it has the capacity to absorb your services? What services do you have to offer in the destination where you yourself are heading? For many, it is easier, instead of decorating your home and make it more valuable and beautiful, for many, they ignore their home and prefer to run some other place which seems more beautiful, only to get to the destination and bring the same quagmire because they carry the same attitude, which attitude, in accordance to homogeneity, had brought them to that environment which they currently are. That attitude has not changed. They wish to take it along. And it is our culture. They wish to take it to their destination and, if possible, inflict such restrictions, which restrictions they themselves had suffered at the roots. They now want to transfer it. At the same time, You are asking people at the destination to offer you what they may not yet have. If people at the destination do not have or haven't developed compassion, how do you expect them to show you compassion? If they haven't developed any diligence or modesty, how do you think they are going to grant you that which they lack? In many cases, the actions are just arbitrary, considering others, that others must see to your needs because you are a migrant. Fair is fair. Things must be examined from both sides. There are many who genuinely are in need. Those must be separated from others who really are not in need. For anyone, to be fair, who leaves his or her country, places himself or herself to smugglers, and pays up to $15,000 to $20,000, would you genuinely say such a person is in need? But these questions are not asked. It's swept under the carpet. And we must go to a specific country. Do you know the challenges in the other country? It is very easy to blame others and not blame oneself because one has not examined thoroughly enough. And therefore, under a charter, it is just assumed. There are some who come from a war zone, and when examined carefully, the possibility is there that a country may take them in depending on their capacity. You do not expect a country to take you in when it's not capable of feeding its people. Just like you don't expect the country you are running away from, who is incapable of making provision for yourself. Do you expect others to come from a different country into that country? And your country that is incapable of making provision for yourself to make extra provision for those people? These are the questions, these are the challenges each personality must look into. So, to sit down in a laid-back fashion and keep accusing one country or the other is not helpful. The fairness in these matters is to examine all sides as objectively as possible before a move is made. Not to embark on a journey only to find along the line you have to sell one of your kidney or sell one of your liver in order to get to the destination. By which time, when you then get to the destination, you find you are not entitled to treatment because it's very costly. These are the questions each personality must ask themselves. And the earlier it is done, the better, such that the blame game will vanish. Where it is said, oh, these are richer countries, these are poorer countries. And in the so-called poorer countries, there are many who are in command of so-called monetary affairs. They have so much money, but at the same time, what do they really offer to the people? A country is to help to ensure that its citizens there is welfare by providing the opportunities to ensure that skills are developed, skills which are important to the community, not religious affairs. Fair is fair, not religious affairs, but that which will keep body and soul together. That these countries lack that understanding. It's not the fault of a third country, but is the indolence of the country where one has incarnated. And the first task for human personality is to examine everything impartially, examine them aright. Do not expect from others that which others are not able to give out, because it will be ridiculous asking somebody to give you when you do not know the state in which he or she is. So these are challenges. There are challenges from all sides.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer and picture there. My question, I want to move to, because my question, let's say, I had another angle that I would like to examine as well now. So what you've just talked about is the international, you could say, situation. And then now I want to look within one country, let's say, just doesn't matter which country really. And it's just to, again, talking about being fair. So which I was mentioning, that there are people coming from a poor background and some from a richer background, and inability, let's say a child is born in that situation, and one is a child is in the poor family and the other one is the richer family, and so, and then the one, they're both, let's say, in quotes, of equal ability, but one has the more resources than the other one. So, I mean, this, if I want to give it a little angle, in the news, again, I'm basing this on news things. They're talking about private school and in UK, that is, and government schools, or they call it public, actually. Just call it government schools and the private school. Let's just make it simple as that. So obviously the private one, people pay to send children there, and the government is paid through the taxation, government schools. So obviously the private schools have an advantage, but of course you have to pay a fee. Of course, a poor family is unlikely to be able to afford that fee that goes to go into a private school. And as I said, the child may be of equal ability, and one may wonder, is there something fate has brought that this one is, let's say, more deserving of the resources than the other one, even if they are of equal ability? And then I know politicians and say, oh, no, we believe in equality. We want equal opportunity. And, so this unfair advantage must be taken away. Somebody with the more resources, no, he shouldn't be allowed to send the child to that school, or they have to pay more even, or they taxed more, let's say, so that there's, let's say, the resources can be put more for the more disadvantaged people. Now, I know we're not supposed to talk about politics here, but just my question really is about this situation where some people have I know it's again money, but but you could say some reason they have an advantage, and but of equal ability. That's the point. So, Gregory, is that again, something that is fair, that you have to accept your fate. You're born there, that's your fate, and there's no way you're gonna. Well, some people will manage to, do quite well, and others, they say, are not going to be as successful. So my question there, Gregory, is: do you have to just accept, oh, I'm born here, so this is my fate, this is what advantages I'll have, and not so much as the other person maybe?
At best, one may talk of challenges, but look at, examine the products in the arts first. How many people who have been to the so-called public schools where massive fees are paid, how many of them have you found out there in the arts who are musicians? How many of them have you found to be of noble character even in politics? Ask yourself that question. Very sadly, what they themselves, the challenges which they have in the so-called public schools, only provide the atmosphere of arrogance, of privilege. How many of them out there who have been to these so-called public schools, how many of them have you seen in the sports? How many of them are footballers? These are the questions you must ask yourself rather than superficially look at things. There are some who never went to public schools, who even dropped out of schools and yet go to the UK and examine their background. They are millionaires because they learned on the trade. How many of them who have been to so-called public schools are of fine character? Very few. By their products, they reveal themselves. It is true that the challenges which those who do not have so much money go through is much bigger than the challenges which those who have been to public schools go through, because they do not have ready finances to overcome these challenges. Therefore, they find other ways to exist. They find other channels to build up. And in the struggle to find other channels, opportunities come up. Those who spend most of their time in the schools you have just mentioned, a lot of these things have been arranged for them, not because they have the skill, but it has been pre-arranged for them. Would you select such who have not gone through such rigorous examination to be your mentor, or he or she who has gone through such rigorous examination? In the case of sports, where in football, the top footballers, which schools did they attend? The musicians you find out there, which school did they attend? On the contrary, those who didn't attend the big schools, to a large extent, in the challenges which they go through, they are able to develop not only independent thoughts, but also develop their intuitions. Whereas, on the other hand, those who have gone through these big schools, they have developed their intellect in such a way that everything is calculative, not born of a free spirit. Go to the musicians and see the sort of music they play, and ask yourself, where do you have that music of that nature is composed in the universities, in the big institutions? None. So, fair is fair. Everything must be examined within the laws of nature, within the laws of creation, and the final product needs to be viewed by their products, by their activities. The result is shown. So one should not get sentimental and consider that those who had to go through so many challenges lack that innate ability to judge, to make good statements. On the contrary, many who go to these institutions, they turn out to more like hothouse plants. The smallest puff of wind blows many away, for they themselves have not gone through the challenges which those whom they look down haughtily have gone through. The time has come when many a thing must be examined and weighed only in accordance with the laws of motion, through which the human personality, the human spirit seed grain came into existence.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer. Character and noble qualities are, let's say, very, very important in looking and assessing these situations rather than just only ability and resources. Because in the end, whatever talents you have to apply them and produce beneficial result rather than being slack and or not being effective, let's say, in what gifts you have been given. Whether it's more or less than someone else is not the point. So yes, so thank you for bringing that out. Oh, dear listeners, I just want to remind you that you're listening to Bless Radio, and this is the Spiritual Discussion Program on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail Message by Uprushin. And if you wish to know more about the Grail Message or want to get a copy for yourself, then you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we are discussing tonight is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. Be Thy Brother's Keeper. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And we're broadcasting on Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1.com. And you can listen also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, again the number 1, space live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1, space Grail Message, space the topic of the show, which is Be Thy Brother's Keeper. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows as well, also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Gregory, I'm going to share an example of like a personal experience of a person that I and others have been helping. He's an elderly man living in a residential care home, and he's like 73 years old or 74 years old, and he suffered a stroke some years ago now. And he also suffers from eczema on his legs and also has prostate problems. So I know these are difficult things. And so he gets a carer to visit him 3 times a day to take care of food and other things. And then us friends also visit him, giving some additional help with shopping, even buying some sandwich or something like that, drinks or something. But we've noticed, and he is thankful and grateful, but somehow we noticed that we feel that we may be being used as servants rather than because he's turned into he can walk and do some things, but he doesn't really leave his flat. And but it seems sometimes that we are, how can I say, helping someone who's like has turned into a helpless child, where he's asking every single little thing, which you think, no, even, just giving one example, there's just to throw the rubbish away, there's the rubbish bag, which can be just thrown into the, let's say, to the, I don't know the chute, you can say, which is on the same floor, and it's really not difficult, but somehow it feels like we are being used and abused for little, let's say, unnecessary tasks, which he should be capable himself, that, is not so disabled that he cannot do it. And then, so you start, I know there can be other circumstances that we may not be aware of, maybe some mental illness or something like that, but that's not what it comes across, as I say, in this situation. So the question from this is, Gregory, of course, I know you don't know the full person and so on, but sometimes you're thinking, hang on a second, am I helping here? Or, am I being used and abused, as they say? Um, Unfairly, we've been using that word. Um, so, and of course, all these things that we buy, although we have talked about, we're not measuring, about money that we spend and so on, but you're thinking, you're spending time and effort to do these things. And is it right to help someone who's, he might be thanking you, but is not really, let's say, the help is not really, sometimes it feels unnecessary help. So, what, what do you do in this situation, Gregory? Do you think we should, I know it's a personal experience, but you stop, help, to maybe to show the person that you need to sort of come to his senses, if I can say, and turn the right way, or yeah, how do you deal with that?
Strictly speaking, it is not the purpose of this to advise many a person how they must proceed. However, it is the purpose to show that motion is a law in creation. And from motion has arisen that which is referred to as reciprocal activity and the attraction of homogeneity. And finally, that of spiritual gravitation, which also manifests in matter as gravity. It is important for the human personality not only to be involved in deeds, in gross material deeds, perceptible to the five senses, but also to be vigilant and alert in his thoughts or her thoughts. And above all, to be vigilant and alert in one's intuition. Only in such a manner can the human personality swing in such a way that he or she is not bound to another, but helps another to swing, which swinging becomes beneficial. Many things you may now refer to as help is no help at all, because you yourself have interpreted this as help. Therefore, it is you yourself that must examine everything very critically to find out whether you are being of help or not being of help. It is not with the other person, but you, and again you. How do you perceive of this? Must you force yourself on others? Must you force your limited concept on others? Such that it becomes an intellectual interaction where one is looking down haughtily on another. The decision is yours. No other person can advise you For even if they do, because you haven't come to that level of maturity, of perception, you will still go back and continue with the same old ways. So, the only advice which is available is for the personality to awaken. Either they awaken through simple recognition, by being vigilant, by being diligent, by being alert, or they will be forced to awaken in a very painful way. The decision, however, is yours.
Thank you so much, Gregory, for this. I won't use the word advice, but your words. I think they're very useful, and because awakening is definitely an experience that, let's say, you just have to go through to come to that clarity. As you know, then you know which way to turn, this way or not this way. You know about helping or not helping. So, and in my own case, I'm using this as an example on the radio show, but I have come to my own conclusion through my experience. So, but I just thought I would share it as a good example, to look at, because everybody's going through their own experiences, whatever way they're dealing with situation, and you always wondering, yes, is this the way or not, right or not? So yeah, thank you for that. So I think the answer is to stay, being awake about it, come to some recognition about it, and that will bring the clarity that you need to which direction you would be the right direction to go, let's say. Yeah. So thank you for that. Now, Gregory, talking about what is the right help, and there's a saying, or true help. What is a true help? And there's a saying that says it is better to teach a man to fish than to keep giving fish. I'm not sure this is exactly the words, but that's, I think, the gist of it. And so, Gregory, again, I don't have any specific example here, but you see someone in need, and then and let's say you have some resources there to help. Yeah, how would you go about that? In a situation that, should I just get him some fish, or should I show him the way to fish, teach him the way to how to fish? How do we come to this? To understand what would be the best solution.
The question has always been, how do you yourself measure the needs of another? Are these measures in accordance with the creative laws of nature, or some form of arbitrary sentimentality? These are left to the individual. Some of these measures, sentimental maybe, may lead to thoroughly unpleasurable outcomes, which challenges will leave a bitter taste in one's mouth. For that personality, which does not just rely on outward appearance, but also reflects not only in one's thoughts, but also with one's intuition. Then, gradually, step by step, before long or before too long, he or she will be able to observe those things which will be beneficial to it in the measure of the type of help he or she wishes to give. But there's a key thing here. Should the individual who wishes to help observe little things about the person he or she wishes to help, then he or she will come to a finer perspective, a finer judgment on how to proceed. It is because in most occasions, these little things are ignored. And that is why you then find many jump into it only to find out that it was only done in rashness, not in careful examination. Unless, however, you yourself intend to push away these challenges and are bent on assisting another, come what may. But first, observe the little things about yourself. Then observe the little things about the other personality. Then you will come to a conclusion. For in the observation and the examination, the weighing and examination of these little things, in modesty, the intuition opens up. That is the challenge for the human personality.
Thank you very much for this answer there, Gregory. Dear listeners, we've come to the end of our show tonight on the topic of Be Thy Brother's Keeper. And hope you've enjoyed the discussion. And just want to finish the evening now with the forward of the Grail Message, which is titled For Your Guidance. The bandage falls and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I'm addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such, it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present-day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed-for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will, and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you are truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God. Aprushin. So, dear listeners, if you would like to know more about the Grail Message or get, get a copy of the Grail Message for yourself, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that, www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And Gregory, anything you'd like to say to the listeners to say goodbye?
Wishing the listeners a very beautiful week.
Thanks. And same from me, listeners. We'll be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time with another topic. I wish you all well. God bless. Good night.